NYT.
I'm not so sure this is a good idea. Romeo and Juliet.
Just a show.
I, like virtually everyone who became involved with New England Youth Theater initially, was the parent of a young person who was in love with theater, wanted to become involved in an organization that was going to provide resources in theater for young people. Primarily, I design and teach in the areas of lighting design, sound design, special effects. We all have lots of jobs. Theater being a collaborative art form, we work together on practically everything. I'm very happy that NYT is still providing an opportunity for young people to learn and express themselves and engage in theater. So just the fact that we're still having fun, we're still going, and it's been 20 years is pretty amazing.
I wanted to start and run a place or develop a place with children that would be of kids, by kids, for kids, run by kids, and that the mantra would be, if it's not fun, we don't do it. And that there'd be no teasing, that it would be creativity without fear. The idea that Shakespeare would be the perfect thing to do, and then does he have a play that's for children or kids or teens, and Midsummer Night's Dream seemed to be good. By the time we opened the show, the kids had never run through the entire show from start to finish, even once. We've got these kids, they're brand new, they've never been on stage, they're reciting, well, they're acting. We got them to really acting Shakespeare, but they're nervous as anything. And I thought, I will come out on stage dressed in clown, with the actor playing Philostrate, with a television on a wheelie truck. And I'll hold up a whole bunch of DVDs, or actually in this case they were VHS, and I'll say, audience, you are not going to see Shakespeare tonight. That's the worst idea possible. Watching Shakespeare done by children will be boring, embarrassing, explosive experience, so we're not going to do that. We're canceling the show, and you can watch Gone with the Wind. How many would like to watch Eddie Murphy and Beverly Hills Cop? This guy breaks into Jimi Hendrix, dun, dun, Purple Haze, ba, da, da, da. And then the kids run on stage, there are 35 of them, all with toilet paper, and they're throwing the toilet paper they held onto the loose end. Toilet paper's going everywhere, and 4 kids ran up to me, grabbed me, bound me, my hands behind me, put a hook around my neck and dragged me off screaming, no, no! Well, we blew the kids' nervousness out of the water. I even had a big sign I'd step out if somebody forgot their line. I'd step out and there's a big sign that said, line, please! And the audience would yell that. That just made it a joke. Well, we didn't have 25 people, 75, 250 people showed up. And the same the following night, in fact, maybe even more, because it really caught on. We were launched, and now we're 20 years. The very first Midsummer Night's Dream, one kid spoke out of turn. He didn't have any lines, and he got so angry in a scene that he just started speaking lines, writing his own lines. It was winter, he ran out into the woods. I mean, he came back in, I didn't see him. He went all the way up to the very top of the theater and hid behind some sandbags. I scooped him up and said, "You are great. It's the best theater I ever saw. Can you do it again?"
I had been out in LA, working in film and TV as an actor, and I got to a point where I wanted to settle down. I think I saw something in the paper about Stephen and NYT getting started. And I didn't know anybody here. I just came on as a volunteer to start helping out, and I never left. I started in the old space, the old Chinese restaurant on Main Street. It was filthy, and it was really fun and very loose. We've grown a lot in terms of who we have brought in terms of faculty and in terms of families and students, and we've gotten a lot more organized, in terms of our pedagogy and our philosophy, and what we want to do. NYT has always been, as I'm sure you've heard, of kids, by kids, for kids. But I think it's been a huge gift to the adults involved too, and that we are all constantly learning and growing as artists. Because of the opportunities that I was given and the trust that was put in me and the collaboration that I've been allowed, in this sandbox, I've learned how to become a much better artist, and I never knew that I would end up here when I started, and it's been a huge gift to me to be allowed to play here and to develop as a theater maker.
I came in on the tails of my daughter. Stephen asked if I could help out with costumes. This was about 17 years ago. The genius of Stephen was not necessarily finding the people that knew the jobs, but the people that were most passionate about the jobs. He just really opened the place up to me. When we started, the closet was about the size of this corner right here. And over the past 17 years, I now have probably one of the biggest collections in New England, and in Vermont at least. There's a huge wardrobe here. We have another huge room full of shoes and boots and things like that. We are able to do so many shows every year is because we have a collection. And so kids can learn from the antiques, learn from the vintage pieces, and adjust current clothing to look like vintage pieces rather than do full builds. On occasion we'll build a full costume, but for the most part we're sort of learning to work with existing clothing, which is very good for the world. We don't need to be making more things. It teaches kids to be, scrappy with what's out there in the world. So the next 10 years we're really aiming to be inviting to all children. Many of our programs are already completely free. Our tech programs are free. Our town schools theater programs are free. And we just need to be getting better and better at that, being more of a community source. I'd like people to also know that it's not just about acting on stage. It's learning building skills. It's, costuming, sewing, craft, props, management. There's so much you can learn here, and you don't have to be a kid that likes the limelight to be here.
We were trying to have just one little quiet little celebration, but it got a little bigger and bigger. We start our celebrations the middle of June with an alumni production of Scapan. Stephen Stearns, our founder, will be directing it with an alumni cast that kind of covers the whole gamut of 20 years worth of students. Like, we apparently have a pair of pants that have been worn in nearly every production ever. NEYT, we like to think of it as the house that clowns built using Shakespeare. So 20 years ago, because our first production was Midsummer Night's Dream, we have a production of that to kick off our summer programming that's all student driven. We've made it an all company project. Our musical this year will be As You Like It, the musical adaptation, written by a Vermont native, Shayna Taub. That kind of rounds out the whole summer. The big party though is during Scapan. We offer a full range of programming for students ages 6 through 19, both on stage and off stage. We want to be here another 20, we want to be here another 40. And so there's a lot that goes into that kind of planning. How do we become more accessible to all of the children in the region? How can we build on our relationship with our community partners? We've got a lot of ideas about what the next step of growth is in the way that we express Stephen's original dream of for kids, by kids. We'd love to see it become a dynamic community space for the community in the revitalization of Flat Street. Always the kids come first. Our plans for the next 20 years are really about sustainability, relationship building, and celebrating the youth in our region.